Welcome to your deep dive. And this one is really sending shockwaves.
Yeah.
We're diving into the serious allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. You guys have sent over some recent articles detailing multiple lawsuits. We're here to help make sense of it all.
Now, I have to say, before we even get started, it's important to remember that everything we're discussing today, it all revolves around accusations.
Right.
Combs has denied any wrongdoing.
Absolutely. Vital to keep that in mind.
Okay, so one of the newest lawsuits, and this is a tough one, accuses Combs of assaulting a minor,
Yeah.
a 16-year-old boy, back in 1998, at a party in the Hamptons. And get this, the lawsuit even includes a photo of them together at the party.
Wow. I mean, photos, that's something else. That's not just he said, she said. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's a chilling detail, really. Adds
Yeah.
another layer to all of this.
For sure. It makes you think, right? Like, what are the implications of all this? Not just for Diddy, but for the whole music industry.
Exactly. This isn't just about one man's actions, right? This could set a precedent for how these kinds of allegations, historical allegations, are handled in the future.
Exactly. We might see a wave of similar cases.
And that brings us to another piece of this lawyer, Tony Busby. He seems to be, like, making it his mission to take on these high-profile cases, especially in the entertainment industry.
It's interesting, right? Busby, I mean, he's known for, well, he's not afraid of a fight. Remember those women who sued Deshaun Watson?
Oh, yeah. That was huge.
Yeah. So it's not his first rodeo, that's for sure.
Definitely not. Seems like he's become the go-to lawyer for these types of cases.
Interesting. Could be a sign of the times, people feeling more empowered to come forward.
Yeah. And that ties into another major development here. Many of these lawsuits, the one with the 16-year-old included, they're being brought under a relatively new law. This law allows for older claims, we're talking decades old in some cases, to be heard in court.
Wow. That's big. It speaks to something bigger, don't you think? Society kind of grappling with these power dynamics, especially in places like the entertainment industry.
It's like we're seeing the ripple effect of the Me Too movement. It makes you think, how far will this go?
Right. $1 million question.
Okay, so on top of that accusation with the 16-year-old, there are several other lawsuits painting a troubling picture.
Each one adds another piece to the puzzle, right?
One lawsuit claims that Combs raped a 19-year-old college student in a hotel room back in 2004. They'd met at a photo shoot. He invited her and a friend to a private party at his hotel.
And that's where, according to the lawsuit, the assault happened.
Yeah.
She claims that she repeatedly told him to stop, but he continued to.
These are really serious accusations. And for context, these civil lawsuits, they're completely separate from the criminal charges Combs is already facing.
That's right. We're talking multiple legal battles.
So we've got those to unpack too, those earlier criminal charges. But first, let's stick with these new lawsuits for a bit. What could they mean for Diddy? What could they mean for the music industry?
And it's important to understand, like, these parties, these weren't just like your average parties, They were legendary, The biggest names in music, entertainment. The lawsuit even describes them as these extravagant, like, over-the-top things, like lavish estates in the Hamptons, celebrities, music icons, the whole 9 yards.
It's almost like this weird contrast, It's like behind the glitz and glam, there's this whole other fear thing maybe going on. And that seems to be a recurring thing in these lawsuits, right? This difference between Diddy's public persona and these alleged private actions.
Exactly. It makes you question the whole image, right?
Yeah.
The celebrity, the power, all of it.
Definitely makes you think twice. Okay, so another detail from these lawsuits that really stood out was the accusation that Combs would pressure these young women into having sex with him and his entourage, sometimes even resorting to threats,
Yeah, that's a whole other level of disturbing. Points to a pattern, potentially, right? This abuse of power. We've seen it before. Weinstein, R. Kelly. It's sadly not a new story in the industry.
It's true, and it's really disheartening, It makes you wonder, will things ever really change?
That's the hope, right? But it takes time, and it takes a lot of things to change a whole system.
Right. Okay, so let's get back to those criminal charges we mentioned earlier. Those are separate from these civil lawsuits, which is, it just adds another layer to everything.
Absolutely. Different ballgame. Civil versus criminal. The civil cases are about, financial damages, but the criminal charges, those could mean, prison.
Right. This isn't just about money anymore. So remind us what those criminal charges are and where those stand.
Sure. So the charges are racketeering, which basically means a pattern of illegal activity as part of some kind of organized thing, and sex trafficking.
So with the racketeering, you're saying these weren't just isolated incidents, potentially.
Potentially, like it
Like,
was a part of a bigger thing, an organization.
and what about the sex trafficking? What does that involve?
Well, the details on that are still kind of murky, but sex trafficking, it's a broad term. It covers a lot of ground. Basically, it means forcing or coercing someone into commercial sex acts.
So taken together, these are very serious charges, right? Like
Yeah.
this points to a potential pattern going back years.
It does, but it's important to remember those charges are still pending. Innocent until proven guilty. That's crucial.
Right, of course. We have to let the legal process play out. But, I mean, all of this, it makes you wonder, what will this mean for his career, for his legacy,
Yeah.
even if he is found innocent?
No doubt. Just the fact that these allegations are out there, it's going to leave a mark. That's how it goes these days.
It really makes you think about the music industry as a whole, doesn't it? Like, will this be a turning point? Will we finally see some real accountability for this kind of behavior?
$1 million question again.
Right.
Here.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. So where do things go from here? What happens next?
Well, legally speaking, we know the criminal trial, that's not until 2025. So we've got some time there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we've got these civil lawsuits, right? Those are going to keep moving. Could be settlements, could be dismissals, could even go to trial. Who knows?
Lots of possibilities. And we have to say it again, Combs is maintaining his innocence through all of this, right?
Yeah.
His lawyers say these are baseless accusations.
Yeah.
That he's never assaulted anyone.
Right. And that is important. We can't forget that. We have to let the legal process do its thing.
Absolutely. Due process for everyone. But, I mean, let's be real. The sheer number of accusations, how serious they are, it's going to have an impact, regardless of what happens in court.
Oh, for sure. Public opinion, it's a powerful thing. Hard to escape that.
This whole thing, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About power, about accountability, about the lasting impact of these kinds of allegations. It's a tough conversation, but an important one.
Absolutely. And these deep dives, these conversations, they're a start. Getting informed, digging into the complexities, that's how we move forward, right?
Well said. And as the story develops, who knows what we'll learn? Maybe we'll even revisit it down the line for another deep dive.
Always a possibility.
But for now, thanks for joining us for this one. It's been a lot to unpack.
It has. Thanks for having me.